Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the November 7th, 2025 meeting of the University of Rhode Island Board of Trustees. The meeting is being held in person at the Ryan Center with some board members participating remotely. At this time, I will ask Interim Board Secretary Emily Diamondes to conduct a roll call attendance to determine if a quorum is present. Please clearly respond present via WebEx or present in person when your name is called.
Margot Cook.
Present in person.
Armin Sabatoni.
Present via WebEx.
Maria Ducharme. Michael Fascitelli. Charles Fogarty.
Present.
Joe Formicola.
Present via WebEx.
Monica Garnes.
Present via WebEx.
Neil Kerwin.
Present via WebEx.
Matt Lenz.
Present via WebEx.
Robbie Luna.
Present via WebEx.
David Martirano. Joseph Matthews.
Present in person.
Courtney Nicolato.
Present in person.
Vahid Onjazieri. Jay Placencia.
Present in person.
Tom Ryan. Mark Parlange.
Present in person.
Michael Gray. David Caprio. Chris Bovey. And Ryan Estes.
Present in person.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. A reminder to all members for the benefit of our public audience and the note taker, please clearly identify yourself whenever you comment, make a motion, or a second to a motion. Please clearly state yes, no, or abstain for all action items. Board members participating using WebEx are required to keep their cameras on as remote members, and all persons present at the meeting location must be clearly audible and visible to each other. At this time, I would like to acknowledge that the University of Rhode Island occupies the traditional stomping ground of the Narragansett Nation and the Niantic people. Are there any proposed amendments to the published agenda? Okay, hearing none. The first order of business is open forum. In accordance with our bylaws, 20 minutes of today's meeting has been set aside to provide members of the public an opportunity to address the board during open forum. Each person must limit their remarks to 3 minutes or less. The open forum protocol is that board members will listen to each presenter, but will not respond directly to the topics raised or interact with the presenter. Inter-Board Secretary Emily Diamondes will call each presenter in the order in which they have registered and will inform them of their 3-minute limit.
Okay, thank you. First, we have Homa Mojtabai. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Homa Mojtabai. I'm a first-year PhD student in English, and I'm also a resident in the soon-to-be-demolished Graduate Village apartments. Access to affordable student housing was a major factor in choosing Rhode Island when I was deciding amongst PhD programs last spring. I joined the housing waitlist and was able to find a bedroom through an existing graduate leaseholder. At no point was I informed that the apartments were slated for demolition. I did not learn about the closure until I was moving into my room in August, after I had sold my car to save money. After all, living on campus, I wouldn't need a car, right? Wrong. URI has offered just 24 apartments, or 47 total beds for over 100 displaced students and families. Apartments will be distributed via a Hunger Games lottery conducted out of sight. Short of your intervention, many graduate students will be homeless next year. The closure of the Graduate Village is a betrayal. Stable, affordable housing is critical for a healthy academic climate. The new housing is planned to be fancier than what graduate students want, need, or can afford. I don't care about having a washing machine in my unit. I care about affording a place to live. Rhode Island is in a housing crisis. Housing Works reports that rents are unaffordable anywhere in the state, even with an average wage of $48,000. Graduate stipends max out at $25,000. International students are worse off as they cannot get second and third jobs due to visa restrictions. Think about that. As an American, I am lucky to work multiple jobs so I can earn a PhD while teaching 3 classes a year. What does such a schedule mean for my ability to teach up to 70 students in a semester, attend my own classes, and engage in scholarly writing and research? Undergraduates pay serious money to attend URI. They expect and deserve instructors focused on teaching, not surviving. Professional students pay for advanced degrees because of URI's reputation built on our backs. Rhode Islanders fund this institution so that we can be teachers and so that faculty can conduct research with our support. How will constituents feel when tuition spikes while academic output declines? How about when their rents and property taxes skyrocket due to swelling out-of-state enrollment? URI is not alone in chasing revenues at the expense of affordability. The backlash against higher education in this country is driven by decisions like the closure of the Graduate Village. Instead of hurting your own students, I invite you to work with me, my classmates, and my neighbors. I want this institution to thrive. I want to be here, not in this room begging you for housing, but back in the library and Swan Hall where I belong, reading and writing and preparing to teach my students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Jay Walsh.
Good morning. Thanks for giving me a minute. I wanted to talk about something that you're going to discuss in executive session today in the Trip Omback report. URI AUP does not currently have a position on the medical school, but we do have several questions that we hope that you discuss in executive session today and in future meetings. The first comes down medical system itself. Just this week, the Lown Institute issued a report based on the greater Boston area, and they found out only 50% of primary care physicians in greater Boston had available appointments. And those 50%, it was a 3.5-month wait to get an appointment with a primary care physician. And if Boston, with its great concentration of medical schools, is still facing that problem, is a medical school in Rhode Island going to be the solution to the medical system struggles that we have in Rhode Island? The second question comes from conversations that have come up at these meetings and other meetings around campus in the last several years. And it focuses on the idea that URI has $1 billion in deferred maintenance. And if we have $1 billion of deferred maintenance, how can we afford a medical school? If the roofs of our homes were falling in, would we be planning an addition on our homes? So we hope that we can figure out ways that that those concerns are addressed while exploring a medical school. The third question is, what safeguards will be in place to guarantee that money is not siphoned from existing colleges to subsidize a medical school down the line? We're doing great work here at URI. The university is in a great position. It's poised to be in a good position moving forward for a long time. We don't want a medical school to trip that up. And those are questions that we need to have answered before any commitments. And I know commitments are way down the road. Faculty are proud to work at the state's research institution. Faculty are proud to make a difference in the lives of Rhode Islanders. If we're going to move down this road, we need to make sure that we have a commitment from state leaders that they're partners with us in this project to overcome the financial concerns that would impact the University of Rhode Island.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
A few short months ago, URI announced the W. Walton Jones campus would be opening again, leased to the Rhode Island DEM. Many misunderstood this to be that the DEM would be running education programs at Alton Jones, but I saw this announcement and felt despair that the URI Environmental Education Center's school and summer camp programs would be a thing of the past. I read that lease agreement and saw nothing that supported bringing these programs back. What a sweet deal it's DEM. Trustees for to do with whatever they want. 2,300 acres to use and sublet for goodness knows who, for goodness knows what. Will there be hunting and fishing on this beautiful, once preserved historic campus? Will teens ride their ATVs and booze it up at Eisenhower Lake? Remember that for decades, this campus was kept intact and free of hunting for countless children to study nature and history in a protected environment. How will it look with shotgun casings and ATV tracks? In your executive session, you will discuss terms for the potential lease of the W. Alton Jones campus. This is an executive session because advanced public information would be detrimental to the interest of the public. I disagree. This information is essential to the interest of the public. We need to know what the plan is before a lease is signed because it will affect generations of children and university students. Reestablishing the Environmental Education Center will take time and collaboration. After 5 years of closure, things will need to be revitalized, and this will take time, but the framework is there. Systems, facilities, curriculum are all in place waiting for children. Please revisit collaborating with the different colleges here on campus. There are university students who would love to experience a teaching internship at Alton Jones. There could be a win-win where students get credit while learning to teach outdoors. Here in Rhode Island and on this very campus, you have people and staff who have devoted their life's work to environmental education at Alton Jones. They can help start things up again through URI before they retire and time runs out. Unless that's the point, don't let time run out. Utilize the expertise of current academics and staff to build the school and summer camps programs again. Make this great for the young people of this state, both children and URI students who yearn to have opportunities
30
like this to
seconds.
learn and grow. We will be watching and hoping for a continuance of protection and proper educational use of this pristine and historic land. Please don't lease to the Rhode Island DEM. Please reopen the Environmental Education Center camps as a URI. Be part of revitalizing URI's role in environmental education. It's a legacy our states need and our children deserve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have David Leclerc.
Good morning. My name is David Leclerc. I'm a Rhode Islander, born and bred, and a member of URI's first graduating class of environmental education students who you see here today. The W. Alton Jones campus, once home to one of the foremost environmental education centers in America, still sits disused despite the pressing need for quality environmental education in our state. We visited the empty Alton Jones campus as part of coursework for our program, and to see it in its quiet, dignified desolation only fills me with enormous hope. Being at Alton Jones made all of us feel like a part of something bigger than ourselves. It was clear to us that the land would be ready to welcome campers again with care that could be student-led, which made a vision for its future tantalizingly real. Its potential is palpable, and it feels parallel to ours. We are about to go into the world full of hope that we can change kids' lives by bringing them to the woods. Why wouldn't we want to bring them here to beautiful Rhode Island? Why wouldn't we want to stay in the state and represent URI as a pillar of environmental education institutions? At Alton Jones, there is an enrichment of the soul, a fortification of identity, and a purpose for living that only those deep old woods can impart. It's like something enormous is there whispering at you, come learn. The closure of education programs at Alton Jones and the establishment of URI's environmental education degree program are at odds. Students in our program are now looking to intern and teach at outside organizations when the opportunity to develop and enact educational programs at Alton Jones is so near. We recognize that you have heard your share of advocacy for Alton Jones from the public. We would like to emphasize the student-led perspective. We ask, as current and future environmental educators invested in URI's contributions to the field, to be directly involved in the reopening of Alton Jones's educational programs and to be active members of future decision-making concerning Alton Jones. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next we have Island Harple.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Island Harpole, and I am a second-year student from Coastal Virginia. The environmental education program is what made my final decision to attend the University of Rhode Island. After realizing that I want to be the educator who is going to take students on study trips and into the natural world, like the ones I had growing up. Because those are the educational experiences that I remember and carry with me to this day. One being the overnight summer camp I went to year after year, where there was no technology and I was able to enjoy life as a kid, which Alton Jones reminded me of. With the closed education center, we are depriving hundreds of youth of those experiences. Youth who could grow up to reflect on their childhood, remember their incredible experience at Alton Jones, and apply to a URI. Especially those from neighboring states like Connecticut and Massachusetts, which is where most of our student population lies. Now, I want to emphasize that when we speak on Alton Jones, we are talking solely about the Education Center and not the Conference Center, which is separate entirely. We understand the financial aspect of Alton Jones is a concern. However, we see the future in Alton Jones and the beneficial environmental education experiences for generations to come. We are currently enrolled in E&E 458, which is teaching us how to financially support organizations through grant writing, because that is how the majority of environmental education jobs and programs are funded. Whereas other courses in our curriculum are teaching us the necessary skills to be an effective environmental educator. With these classes, we are gaining the knowledge that could help us to be a self-sustaining program with the use of Alton Jones. We urge you to think about the benefits that potential environmental education programs could have on not only current university students, but those aspiring youth in surrounding communities. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Next, we have Lydia Smith.
Good morning. My name is Lydia Smith, and I'm a sophomore here at the University of Rhode Island. Myself and those in my major are here today with concerns regarding the URI-owned Alton Jones campus. We care deeply about the Alton Jones campus and its future. As you may know, Alton Jones was a hub for environmental education programs for years. It highlighted a uniqueness and a special public interest to URI and provided education for surrounding schools. URI students still have passion for Alton Jones campus. I am an environmental education major. In fact, the reason I decided to attend URI as an out-of-state student from New Jersey was because of the offering of this major. In fact, we are the only university in the tri-state area to offer an environmental education major. With passion for our major and the opportunities that await at Alton Jones, my benefit our degree and the university. Our environmental education major lies within the Feinstein College of Education. Other education majors are required to student teach as part of their degree completion. My peers are gaining real-life experience in the classroom right now. However, my experiences differ from this, as there's a lack of university-supported teaching opportunities for my major. I see the Alton Jones campus still so full of life and learning waiting to be unleashed, and I see the new environmental education program with many motivated students awaiting the opportunities it has for them. Yet, environmental education students have no access to the Alton Jones campus to teach or to utilize it in any way. In today's executive section of the meeting, you are discussing the approval of authorization to negotiate final terms regarding the potential lease of a portion of the W. Alton Jones campus. We ask that you reconsider the future of Alton Jones and view it from a student interest perspective. We want to be involved in the future decisions regarding Alton Jones and to utilize the spaces for our environmental education degree. My peers and I urge you to allow us to use all that URI offers in order to pursue the hopes we had when we declared our major and made the commitment to further our education at URI. We are prepared and anticipate to do the necessary work for our environmental education program to reach its full potential, and we need the Alton Jones campus to do so. Thank you for your time and for your consideration in this matter.
Thank you.
And lastly, we have Julia Souza.
Hello, my name is Julia Souza, and I am a junior here at the University of Rhode Island. I'm studying environmental science and environmental education. My time here at URI has been one filled with some of the best memories as well as opportunities I have experienced in my lifetime. I come before you today to speak along my fellow environmental education students about the university's Alton Jones campus. As I began my journey in this major last fall, I was expecting to learn ways in which students can dive into our environment and learn ways in which to learn from it. To my surprise, this major has become something else in its entirety. I was first introduced to the Alton Jones campus during my ENE 458 grant writing class with Dr. Sweetman, as we were all working on finding a project that we all felt passionately enough to dedicate our time to write a grant for, while we all simultaneously wanted to fight for the Alton Jones campus. After much further research, we know grant writing is far too forward, especially in the middle of your working with the DEM to see where the campus's future lies. I am here before you to simply ask to keep Alton Jones in our hands, students' hands. As I'm sure you've all heard, Alton Jones has been a place of joy for many and a place of great opportunity for all of us. But I want to quickly speak about just how important keeping this campus is for the health of our student body. As I said before, my time at this university has been filled with a lifetime of memory and opportunities, but it has also been filled with some hardship. As a 20-year-old student, it is no question that my generation is in a moment consumed by technology. I have not had one course in the past 2.5 years at this university where all of my work is not to be done on a screen. And while I am grateful for the opportunity technology has given us, it does not come without its flaws. I'm a student who has struggled. I have faced issues with mental health most of my adult life, just like many of the students I walk by every day. This university does have an amazing support system like that in Roosevelt Hall and their counseling center, a place that has helped me in more ways than I can count. But out of all my time finding ways and methods and help to get my mental health at a healthy spot, there's not one thing that has compared to the power that being outside in our environment has had. Being enriched in nature and the beauty all around is the exact feeling that drew me into environmental science and what introduced me to environmental education. As I said, many of my fellow students struggle with mental health every day, and it can so quickly become an obstacle. Having the URI Alton Jones campus open to students would be one of the best things that could happen to our student body. The feeling of closing the laptop and surrounding yourself with the natural world is quite simply the best therapy there is, and I am a true testament to that. My time working with my fellow environmental education students in this major has been some of the most healing time in the world.
30 seconds.
I have found ways in which orderly or an obstacle, and instead can be opening, accepting, and exciting. This major is going to grow, not because of just how amazing it is, but because the world needs it too. I implore you to please keep the Alton Jones campus in our hands for the good of the university. Thank you.
Thank you. So while we don't respond to each of you, you should know that we appreciate you coming. I know it takes a lot to prepare your comments, take time out of your day, and it's important to us that we hear from the community. So thank you for everything that you've brought to us today. And you should know that when we go into executive session, we will consider what we've heard today. So thank you very much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is report of the chair. That's me. So I just wanted to talk about one topic, and at a very high level, because Abby's gonna actually be the one that's doing the work on this. So the topic is the Narragansett Bay campus, and I just wanted to bring to the board's attention that, and we've been talking a lot about this in the last few meetings, but what has really come to both, Mark's priority list and what the administration's working on is the importance of the Bay campus. And as we went through the study that we recently did on what our campus can look like, and Mike Pastelli has been leading a committee on real estate and how we're thinking about the growth of the campus, and obviously considering some of the things that you talked about with grad housing. All of that gets us to where do we want to be with our campus over the next several years. And it's become very clear also as we talk with the state on economic development that the Bay campus is such a prize. It's such a piece of property that we can do so much with. And it isn't just, although we are developing our ocean engineering our research capabilities. Bethany and I were talking last night about the Ocean Institute, the Oceanography Institute. There's so much that we can do from an innovation standpoint. We're talking about an innovation hub, really figuring out how to bring companies and partnerships. We have land and sea brought together on that campus. You think about we're a land and sea grant university. That spot is extremely valuable. So not just from an oceanography standpoint, but how do we get undergrads to experience that part of campus, possibly put housing there. There are a lot of things we can do there. So it's risen up in the set of priorities. Abby's working on a plan so we can look at that. Hopefully that will be ready in February so we can take a look at, even on a preliminary basis, what's the vision around that part of our campus and our presence and our brand. And I think there's so much we can do there. So we'll hear more about that to come, but I just want to keep that in front of us. We talk about the medical school as being a priority, but the Bay campus is something we have as an asset that we are going to develop. And so we'll talk more about that as it develops. And I'm really excited about it. It's something that I think, it was like something that was in front of us, and all of a sudden things sort of just like I think we had epiphanies where we're like, holy cow, this is really something we can develop that will help the university. So more to come on that. So with that, I will turn it over to the president for a report of the president.
Okay, thank you so much, Margot. I have slides that I will follow. Actually, maybe I'll just go up there. Well, good morning, everyone. Good to see all of you here. It's been a busy fall semester. There's a lot happening across the university. So from major capital projects, as our chair just spoke about, out on the Bay campus, to right here on our campus. I wanted to also thank all the committees of our Board of Trustees who have been meeting and working, and all the thoughtful work that's come up. So what I'm going to do here is just give you some highlights of what's been happening recently. We met, it feels like just yesterday, but a lot has happened in the last few weeks. I'm going to talk about strategic priorities, facilities, and then a few initiatives that are on the horizon. So I'm grateful to everyone for your continued commitment to our students, our faculty, and our staff. So let's see. You have it?
I'll do it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So many of you were there, but this is an important moment for the campus, having truly what will be New England's best track and field facility. Why is this so important? Well, it's for the university, but it's for the broader community. And so we host, for example, Special Olympics, high school events, community events, but our track and field programs have been truly national class, and they've done this over decades without having the facility. So having the celebration, thanks to so many that came out on that day, it was a special moment. I want to highlight nursing professor Lee, who's been piloting a chatbot for older adults. And this is really care. It's really about, it's a chatbot to support symptom awareness and self-care for seniors living alone. And so this is an area where you really see the advances in technology meeting the science and the research in the College of Nursing. And then on the top right, you'll see a group of our URI oceanography students who are mapping hidden structures in active Hawaiian volcanoes. So volcano research to improve the prediction of eruptions. And then on the lower left, Professor Yoshi Ota, who won the Taiwan Peace Fellowship. He's one of 7 inaugural fellows, and his research links ocean governance and human security. He's a marine affairs professor, and we were thrilled with that. Many of you may have seen in the bottom middle, I don't know how many of you use Minecraft, but it's really the intersection of art and Minecraft. And so Assistant Professor Travis Smalley, who's come to talk to us before, is bringing his digital work and AI work to look at, to really advance the world's top selling video game. How many of you use Minecraft? Does anybody here? Apparently, it's very popular. Okay, that's good. Thank you. And then on the lower right, family weekend. It was really we had a really strong campus turnout. I want to thank Vice President Ellen Reynolds. I want to just the community really came together. VP Mark Antonucci had a lot of alums that were also there to really celebrate, and it was a marvelous day. And somehow we're lucky this fall. I don't know how it is, but now it's sunny on the weekends. Last year was rainy on the weekends, so we're in a new system now. For further campus news, there we go. Oops. Yeah. We just celebrated the 10th URI Guitar and Mandolin Festival. This is truly a world-class event. On the Saturday night, actually, when there was also John Stewart with the student events team that was happening here, there were more than 800 people up at Edwards seeing outstanding guitar. It was a 10-day festival. It really brought the best. And what really made it for me was I saw also our students and just the thrill they had in performing and really being at the cutting edge. I don't know how many of you were up 2 nights ago, but our women's soccer team won the semifinals. We beat St. Louis University. I hope SLU is not watching this as I speak, but I know their president very well. But anyway, this is a big deal. We have not been to the finals since 2005. We've actually never won the A-10 finals. So the outgoing athletic director, I'm going to talk more about him, has KPIs in terms of championships. And so far, the new incoming athletic director seems to be knocking it out of the park. So we'll just keep it going, Brittany, with a game on Sunday against Dayton. But on the top right, I just want to mention our cross-country team. They made the podium. They came third. First time since 1980. It's a big deal. There's a young coach, Brian Doyle. He's really done a good job of pulling. It's really a thrill. They're so excited, and they're really competing at the national level. I strongly recommend some of you, I had the pleasure to go with from the Board of Trustees to see our URI Theater, Pride and Prejudice. We're unique. Anybody in the community can compete to be part of the theater performances, and it is truly outstanding. And then on the lower right, on Monday this week, the Christian Anandpur lecture, and it was First Amendment lawyer Floyd Abrams who was presenting. So it's really kind of just, it was an amazing moment because he started with the Pentagon Papers, and you have somebody there who was presenting before the Supreme Court in 1971, was also giving this incredible talk. So it was a special moment. So these moments happen on the campus all the time. I'm going to highlight, these were slides given to me by Mark Antonucci. I presume since this morning they've already been updated a little bit, so a little bit upward. Everything is good. So for FY26, we have a commitment goal of 38 million. Mark has arrived, and he's ambitious, and we're growing our expectation. We have 14.1 million that I know about that's been committed to date. There's really strong early momentum across annual, major, and plan giving programs. And we're going to continue to focus on the development of the pipeline, donor engagements heading into the winter. So more to stay focused there. And yeah, thank you. So the annual Rhodey Athletics Challenge was held about a week, oh, well, actually 2 weeks ago, October 23rd. The goal was 1 million. We raised 1.16 million. There was really strong participation from alumni, parents, fans, student athletes, and it was across all varsity programs. So it's very, very important. So thanks to Thor, the coaches, the players, and Mark Antonucci and his team. One of the things that we look at very closely on these is we try to look at how many donors, how many people are really engaging. And you can see at the top, we had a goal of 1,750. We actually hit 2,244. But what's really also interesting is at the bottom, you'll see that we wanted new donors to be 500 and we reached 651. So there's really strong re-engagement and there's really this sort of strength and momentum that's building. So it's really for the next phase of athletic fundraising. One of the key issues that we have been talking about quite a bit with the state, and I just want to show these two time series. So you'll see at the top, and we thought about different ways to present this. So the easiest way in terms of student numbers is I'm going to present how many people graduated per year. So the top line is how many graduates were there each year. You'll see that you know, there's a steady growth and that's going. So we reached 5,083 degrees awarded last year, and this is up from 3,900 a decade ago. So the number of students we are serving has increased tremendously. Over the same time, the FTEs has remained essentially flat. It's increased, but it's modest. It's going from 2,436 to 2,671. URI, obviously the university, it's all about its people, it's all about its culture, and every area depends on skilled staff to support teaching, research, and student life. And so we continue to do more with less, and we're sustaining really world-class programs with limited staffing growth. So we're continuing to work with the state officials to talk about the FTE cap and where it should be. But you all get, I think the results speak for themselves. I'm going to talk about the strategic plan. As you all remember, I report from our strategic plan, Focus URI. We look,
Make a point on that FTE slide. Where do you feel that the most? Because we have talked about our advisor to student ratio is not where we want it to be. It's way too high. So maybe just give us some insight into where do you feel that pressure the most?
so again, between friends and straight line, and between friends, this is obviously a drawing line. So as we need to support our students. So the areas we certainly feel that are direct staff support for our students. So advisors, a key point, we've made that point a number of times and I will repeat it. We are some 800 to 1, 800 students to 1 advisor. The national standard is, the ideal national standard is 250 to 1. Dean Labudi, who will be speaking after me, could speak more to this. That's one particular area. The other area is actually in tenure and tenure track faculty across the campus. And so there's a number of key areas. So we've been able, thanks with the planning of our provost, Barb Wolf, over the last couple of years to really start to correct some of that, but it's really key to be able to have those faculty. I am really proud of the faculty we're able to recruit at URI. They are truly world-class. One of the attractions coming to the University of Rhode Island is you get to work with faculty who are on the leading edge. They're the ones that will take you out to the volcanoes. They're the ones that are doing the art that's being picked up in Minecraft and, you know, working with. So it's very impactful research that our faculty have. So that's the other area that is key. And then across the campus, to be honest, I look at our Vice President for Human Resources. We did really not have what I would call a modern Human Resources Program. I look at Vice President Abby Benson for Administration and Finance, what our capacity for planning was not there to be in a position where we are now to build a campus comprehensive plan, to start to have that thought like, what could we do out on the Bay campus? All of those things. You do need support in those areas. There's also behind the scenes, everything to do with risk, everything to do with finance and planning. So it's across. I see you, Matt, our Vice President for Communications. We all have seen, as I tell poor Matt every day, did you know you were going to do all of this? And he's very positive always. But it is really important to get the URI story, and we're starting to get it out now, and so that's also reflected in the student applications that we've been seeing. I look at Vice President Markeisha Minor. I'm going to go down the line now, but community equity and diversity is so important for the university. I look at yesterday's event with our Chris Bovee was there, but with our students who are members of the Narragansett Tribal Nation. These events that are happening now that are bringing the community together did not used to happen, and we need, but one really good person can make a big difference. And so that's really the point. We're not asking necessarily to grow in parallel, but we certainly need to be able to lift up our situation on the FTE cap.
Just so board members understand, this is a cap that the state has on all of its entities. They employ an FTE cap rather than looking holistically at the budget. And it's something that we're working on with the state, but if it comes up, this is an issue for us. We have to grow. We will grow in a responsible way, and we're growing our budget in a responsible way, but to be capped on the number of employees is a metric that frankly doesn't mean anything if you're staying within your budget. So it's something we have to work on.
Thank you, Marco. Yes. So just to remind on our strategic plan, we have 4 key strategic pillars, and the 4th one has to do with powering the university of the future. And it gets back to actually some of the conversation just now about how do we operate as a university. We used to use the typewriter. As of a few weeks ago, we stopped using it. Is that correct, Abby? Almost. Becky, I think we're close. Okay. But we are going to have a modern university, and there's a number of issues in terms of the performance, in terms of the services that we're able to provide to our students, to our faculty, and to our staff. So there are 3 measures that we look at in terms of this KPI. The first is revenue per student FTE. So it tracks overall financial strength and our ability to invest in students and operations. The second is revenue diversity. You want different sources of revenue, not just undergraduate tuition. Doing in graduate tuition? How are we doing on online? How are you doing in our research grants, which are growing? You've heard from our Vice President for Research. How are we doing with the state? A very important funder. At currently, the state provides about 10%. So I'll talk a little bit about how that's going. And then the last is an indicator from Moody's. It's operating cash flow margin. So this is an indicator of long-term financial health and flexibility. So these are 3 metrics that are important in terms of resiliency of the university. So these are our targets and the numbers. So first of all, the revenue per student FTE has only grown modestly. 5,000. It remains well below our 51K target, and it really does underscore the need to expand and diversify our revenue streams. Revenue diversity, what you actually want, so what this percentage does is it gives you the highest percentage, single percentage of the largest contribution to our revenue. And in this case, it's tuition dollars. And you will see that it's sitting around 57%. We want it to be less than half of the revenue. And then the operating cash flow margin, that remains steady at about 9.7. So it's just shy of the 10% target. So obviously, we continue to focus on efficiency, innovation, and then revenue growth. So this is a plot of the revenue per student FTE. It's remained relatively flat over the past decade, and it really, I would say, when I look at it, there's a number of things I think, but it certainly reinforces URI's need for greater state investment and strategic resource development to power long-term success. We are going to be going up to the State House to make our case as how the University of Rhode Island goes, as how the state of Rhode Island goes in so many different ways. If I look at the plans from the governor or the Senate president or the speaker, this is extremely important. In terms of revenue diversity, you'll see that it came down, so that's good. We wanted to reach, actually, do I have 55%? I actually thought it was 50%. I'm looking to John Stringer. John, are we shooting? Okay, 55. There we go. It must be right. But you'll see that the trend is, it shows that URI is moving in the right direction, and it's strengthening the balance between tuition and other funding streams that are coming in to the university. And then the final is the operating margin. This is a key Moody's benchmark for institutional financial health. It's strengthened. We see this over the last few years, and it really demonstrates effective stewardship of our resources. And I thank, of course, our Chief Financial Officer, Abby Benson, and I see John Pullman is also here. So thank you for the help and the planning and really the support that we have there. So those are, happy to talk more about these. I just want to touch on a number of key topics. We did talk about some. The first is student housing. So this is historic. This is the first public-private partnership between URI and Gilbane. And this is being finalized to build and operate new on-campus housing. This is going to add 1,100 new beds. So there'll be 2 Flag Road apartment-style halls and a new graduate village, which will have 200 beds. So the first hall opens in the fall of 27, and the second, and the graduate village will reopen in the fall of 28. It's really obviously expanding capacity to meet rising demand and supports our priorities around student success and campus vitality. So it's really a huge win for URI. It sets a precedent for the state of Rhode Island, and I'm grateful to Gilbane for their partnership. Our chair spoke about the Bay Campus momentum, and this has been something that we have been working over the past few years. You'll remember that there was a first GEO bond that involved building a new pier, which has now been successfully built, and an ocean robotics building. So the new pier is necessary for welcoming the new research vessel. We've just retired our 50-year-old Endeavor. She's retired, and now we're going to hopefully soon be welcoming the Narragansett Dawn. So the Ocean Robotics Lab is going to be completed in this spring. This is really going to allow for broad collaboration across the campuses in multiple fields, from oceanography and marine sciences to engineering. As many of you know, in 21, in the fall of 21, we got started. We made the case. The elections were held in 22 for a new ocean frontiers. We need a new wet laboratory out there. And the current facility out there is atrocious. And then a new ocean engineering, which will include a 100-meter wave tank, tow tank. So for naval architecture, marine engineering, this is going to be unique in New England and will be very important going forward. And then this past year, we've also added we're very interested in innovation and entrepreneurship. This generation of students are really interested in startup companies. And so next to the Ocean Engineering Facility, we'll be building a new technology place to really incubate the startups. Already we have some 7 companies with students and faculty that are startups that are coming out of the lab. So it really speaks to the opportunity to build. We can attract people that want to come and work with us out there, and we have, high hopes in a number of key areas. You heard earlier, we are exploring a public medical school. We have now completed a comprehensive feasibility study. The findings show a strong demand, a clear alignment with the state's healthcare and workforce need. It also shows clear alignment with the University of Rhode Island. As all of you know, we have incredibly strong College of Nursing, College of Pharmacy, College of Health Sciences, so programs in physical therapy, counseling, nutrition, so important. And we can really envision a new modern medical school that really integrates across these fields. So the Senate Commission is now drafting its recommendations to the General Assembly that will be due at the end of the year. URI remains an active partner in this work, and it's really positioning the university to lead this next phase of health and life sciences investment in Rhode Island. Obviously, a lot of work to come. I want to remind all of you that we have a fall commencement that is coming up on December 13th. This will be, the fall commencement is special in the sense that the entire campus comes together, so all colleges will be there. It is a very meaningful event, and of course, board members, as always, we warmly welcome you to come and congratulate parents, students, families. It's a special occasion, and faculty and staffs. So we're looking forward to that. I want to take a moment. He's not here, and I know some of you came for this moment. He's actually on his way to tonight. Our men's basketball team's playing in Annapolis against Tulsa. There's a tournament, and then he's actually going to continue further south. Saturday, our football team is playing Elon in North Carolina. We're doing really well. We're on our way to the CAA championship, but we take it. So I'll do my best coach speak. One game at a time. We're focused on Elon, but Thor will go there. And then somehow he's going to go Sunday out to Dayton for the final of the women's soccer game. But Thor arrived in 2007, and he really set out to elevate Rhodey athletics, not just on the field, but in the classroom and in the community. And we saw it happen. We saw records being broken, championships won. But we have seen student athletes thrive here. We've seen coaches thrive here in our athletic department. And he's really transformed what's going on here in terms of our facilities and fundraising. And he's been a game changer for the university. He is always positive, and it's genuine. He loves URI. And, from a personal point of view, he's a good friend. I did work out with him at 5 this morning, 5 o'clock, because he had to go to the airport. But let me just tell you a little bit about some of the successes. Rhodey Athletics, during his time, has won 40 league championships, 40. Including 11 in the past 3 years. You saw at the last board meeting a month ago where he was reporting, and of the A10 programs, we are the most diversified and successful. We're competing head-to-head with VCU. He's seen, there's been a number of landmark successes, including in men's basketball in A10, winning the A10 title in 17-18, going to the NCAA second round. We also saw baseball not only win the A10, but go and win NCAA regional in 2016. Of course, this past spring, the baseball team also won the A10. Women's basketball won the A10 and the football championship last year, and you all have a little trophy there to take home. His student athletes, they have 3.26 cumulative GPA. I am so proud when I walk into the gym there, and you see the photos and you see the success, and I see The lacrosse team, we have 3 students there with 4.0 GPAs in ocean engineering. Think about that. He started women's lacrosse, and it is attracting just outstanding people and student athletes, and it's really improving our athletics infrastructure. Thank you to the state of Rhode Island and to our government. We secured about 66 million to upgrade facilities. We are raising the matching that is necessary to complete this project. We are on our way. And along the way, he also, entirely from private fundraising, he raised 8 million for the basketball practice facility. A number of other things. He does a lot, but he was chair of the Atlantic 10 ADs. He's member of the NCAA FCS Football Championship Committee. You would see him on TV presenting the trophy to the winning team as part of his work there. And twice he's been the FCS Athletic Director of the Year. So in 2016 and then this past year in 25. So that's really a testament to his excellence. He is well known around the country as the leading in this field. Now, I want to say I'm really happy to welcome Brittany Miles, who will step in as of yesterday to serve on the interim. I don't know, Brittany, if you want to stand up for a moment. So I think everybody knows you, but it's really, Brittany, thank you. I really look forward to working with you in this role. And I know that the feedback that I'm receiving is so positive from so many from athletics, but across the community. Brittany has been responsible actually for the men's football team, for the basketball team. So all successes. Thank you, Brittany. But a little about Brittany's background. Brittany was a student athlete herself. She played 4 years of basketball for the University of Vermont, came here, worked in helping to support our students, advising, academic advising. So you've heard about the success that happened there. And then Thor recognized that Brittany was really quite a star, and Brittany has moved into the role as Associate Athletic Director and is really, I think this is a seamless transition. So I know all the coaches are looking forward to working with you. So thank you, Brittany, for supporting URI. It's so important. We appreciate it. And then I'm going to stop and say thank you. I did want to mention, this is a reminder, our women's rowing team is also won the A10, the 11th A10 championship since Shayla Donahue has arrived as the coach, and I actually believe we have a good chance to win the 12th this year. So we'll keep an eye. They're very enthusiastic team and a really great bunch of coaches. A lot of good things happening at the University of Rhode Island. So thanks, and happy to working with this great board of trustees.
Any questions, comments, feedback? Reacting to, Joe?
Status with the Wall Street Journal.
Oh!
Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Is that called a
I think that
softball?
was the first time I ever gave a talk where I didn't
You
mention
haven't said it.
So I just, yeah, so thank you. It's so again, we're #1 in New England, and actually it was really great. We went from 80, I'm looking at Barb, I'm pretty sure we went, and John, we went, I think, from 85 to 76. We're moving, you want to be #1. So we're on our way. We just keep one year at a time, and some of our colleagues in surrounding states also improved, but we improved a little faster. So it's so we're keeping ahead, but it's so important. We really like the Wall Street Journal ranking because it really assesses our graduates, their success when they're leaving, looks at questions about student debt, and then also their success in starting their careers. And then finally, it assesses the student experience here. So students are queried about that. So all very positive. So thanks, Joe. Yeah.
Others? Okay, and welcome, Brittany. We're really looking forward to working with you. Okay, thank you, Mark. The next item on the agenda is item 5, which is a discussion item. And I'll invite Associate Vice President Dean Labuti, who's going to share the university's public enrollment report. As a reminder, later in our meeting in the executive session, we will talk about confidential strategies related to enrollment and recruitment. But as always, we enjoy the report that Dean puts in front of us. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today to always talk about how we're doing enrollment. Oh, enrollment-wise, yes, thank you. Sorry about that, everyone. All right, so I'd like to start actually with peeling back how we did this fall with enrollment. I'll start with our first-year students and then go from there. Excellent. So we had a terrific year recruiting new undergraduate students. And really our superpower is that our recruitment is actually a team sport by all divisions and people on campus. And so as I share these numbers, I'd like to remind everyone that what makes us successful is a wonderful community that comes together to make this happen. Applications record over 28,000. That was 1,000 more than the previous year. And I remind everyone that happens at a time when we are seeing declining high school demographics. So really exciting to see, and I'm going to show you in a little bit where some of them came from. We initially had set a target for 3,275 first-year students. We knew two things. Number one, the previous year, we had some challenges with the launch of the federal FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. And in addition, we had a wonderful, strong application pool. So we had the opportunity mid-cycle to adjust our target to 3,385, and I'm pleased to say that we came in at 3,431 enrolled. And some of my colleagues here who enjoy summer melt, you can see our gross was just over 3,700. So years ago, people would say they were coming to URI, but the number who would then no longer come used to be 12 and 13%. Well, our summer melt, thanks to a great team effort with academic affairs, student affairs, and so many, was actually sitting just under 8%. So great year coming in over target with a record number of applications. We could talk about the attributes of this class for so many times. 315 talent development scholars. Average high school, our recalculated GPA was a 3.69. And when I started presenting this many years ago, that was actually a 3.08. Over 1 in 2 of our students starting this fall are bringing in earned college credit from high school. It shows their quality, it shows their commitment. And what I love about that is that not only are over 12% of our students graduating in less than 4 years, but many of them are starting to talk about, I want to do a 4+1 or an accelerated bachelor's to master's from day one. And what a great opportunity for us for graduate education. 62% of our students are identified as female. Diversity, 27%. That's another number that used to be around 11% years ago. And I'm going to show you in a little bit what it looks like student body-wise. 42 states, 36 international students. 1 in 4 of our incoming students receives a Pell Grant from the federal government. Pell is a need indicator, the most needy of folks going to college. And then just over 30% are first in their family to come to college and earn a 4-year degree. In addition to new students in the first year, don't forget transfers. 1 in 5 of our students that will graduate this December and in May transfer to the University of Rhode Island. And great to see a terrific year transfer-wise, 581 students. You can see the breakdown by residency. But the interesting thing is here from over 150 unique institutions. So think of the amount of work that's taking of that collateral and how we connect that into their curriculum and journey. So really proud of the work we've done there. Next up, I just want to talk about the growth a little bit. We know that Rhode Island is on a decline with high school demographics. We have just under 10,000 high school graduates. Not all go on to college. We also know New England is a challenge based on the number of high school graduates and demographics. So look at the growth you're seeing in here in applications across states. And as you look at this, from Maryland to DC to Tennessee to Illinois, Ohio, California, Colorado, it's really exciting to see that Wall Street Journal #1, R1 growth and expansion that we are doing across the world, that URI is a wonderful institution, not just New England as we were many years ago. So tremendous growth also in high achieving students. Some of our largest growth of our 28,000 applicants were in students with a high school grade point average of 3.8 or greater. So great opportunity for us to compete with terrific students, tremendous challenge for us to show the value of URI when these students have many options. Received applications from 48 states. I have to keep saying my joke because someone has to help me with it. Anyone here with North or South Dakota connections, please see me afterwards. I'd love to hit the 50 next year. One of the things that is really tremendous is the way that our alums have stepped up to help us with recruitment. This started with Tom and Kathy Ryan and Al and Jerry Varecchia with our Ryan and Varecchia scholars, and they have been game changers for us. And for those of you who have met the students and seen their accomplishments, it's tremendous. Accomplishments hasn't yet been announced. We're about to announce another Fulbright scholar from last year's cohort, another Ryan, so that's 2 from that cohort. And we just found out last week that we have a great UVA med school acceptance from one of our scholars as well. The students are great. But notice this picture is more than just Ryan and Varecchia. Tom and Al's gifts helped us with the Schilling gift and really to show what's possible. So this fall, we are bringing in 37 top scholars from 16 states representing 30 majors and 7 colleges. And for those of you who have met them, they just are as tremendous as all of our students are. But it was nice to see that impact on recruiting thanks to that. And then again, with the Kent and Diane Fannin Institute that was just announced a couple of weeks ago on student success, here's what I'm saying. Notice we have tremendous alums who come here, love this place, some actually fall in love, do tremendous work, and then give back to URI. And when we said that at the open house, it was amazing to see the nods of families that said, I get it. Wall Street Journal #1 ranking is connected to successful alums who then want to give back to support the university. So Ryan, Schilling, Fannin, Varecchia, and more really makes an impact. Going on to total enrollment. October 15th has passed. This is the census day where we can start talking about the number of students we have on campus. And I'd like to recognize Dr. John Stringer and his team for helping us because there's lots of people to count in many exciting ways. His website is tremendous if you would like to know more info on what I'm going to share. Over 17,000 students at the University of Rhode Island. That's all in, undergrad and grad, online, and even our high school students. Over 15,000 undergraduates there. You can see 15,045, and that includes PharmD, and over 2,400 graduate students. Residency mix, you can see, I'm going to say that's 50-50, and then you can see percent of male and female, as well as our institution.
Is the in-state, out-of-state, that shifted a little bit, right? Weren't we more out-of-state?
No, we actually are growing a little bit more out of state each semester, and I actually have a slide coming up, Chair Cook, to show you what that looks like. So, no, each semester, each year, we're getting a couple of half percentage point moving more out of state, and that's by nature of the fact of high school demographics and some other challenges with state programs as well.
I thought out-of-state was higher.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, that makes sense.
So when first-year students, out-of-state is higher. Chair Cook, you are right, over 60%. But don't forget our transfers, the majority are in-state. And then when you bring in many of the other factors in our aspects, so you are exactly right, where some of the inputs are much higher than 50%. But this is taking into account all of our students, high school, graduate, online, et cetera. This slide is one that I'd love to show this group. We have had a commitment to make sure that we have an institution that represents the community we live in and the world we are part of. And when we started this chart many years ago, we talked about how do we grow and expand and work. And so if you look over time, this is students by race and ethnicity alone and in combination since 2009. If you look at the top right, you will see we've talked about this, our Hispanic growth. And I'm really proud of this, not only because it is representative of our community, but our staff are really doing tremendous work in bilingual programming and education and community involvement and engagement. In addition, you will see growth in, from our Black and African American students, but this is just a chart, again, over time. And again, I encourage everyone to visit the IR website if you'd like to see how it differs by different types of colleges and different aspects, but it's nice to see the growth and expansion of our vibrant, diverse community that we have and continue to have. This next slide I'm going to show you looks fairly flat, and the good news about this is there's many institutions out there who cannot show this based on what happened with COVID and a decline in demographics. I am going to break this down better, but blue basically is your undergraduate student enrollment over time. White is your graduate student enrollment. And then our undergrad, non-degree, non-matric students are in gold. But I'd like to show you this a couple of different ways based on feedback from the past when I've presented this. First, enrollment by college. This is a one-year look, and then I will show this as a trend over time that I know some of the board members have asked for. You'll notice arts and sciences is AS there with 4499 students. Blue, again, is undergraduate here, and white is graduate. Moving into the second place for the first time is actually the College of Business at 2845 students. We have HS as Health Sciences, CELS is Environment and Life Sciences, EGR at 1672 is Engineering. Then we have non-degree or University College and students still exploring. NU is Nursing, ED is Education. And then PH in Pharmacy, when you see gold, keep in mind we have our PMD Pharmacy 6-year program. That's why that is in gold there. And then, of course, the Graduate School of Oceanography and the grad school. So this is what our enrollment looks like by college. And this is what it looks like by college over time. And so, again, want to thank John and his team for putting this together. Just if you're wondering how enrollment's shifted by college, what I love about the IR website is you can really go into a deep dive on this, but I did just want to show you over time what is looking. And so, for instance, if you look at just the third set of bars as just an example there, and you look at the College of Business, remember I mentioned they moved into the second place. You can see the growth that an example, a college like that, has had over time. And so, again, what you see here in front of you are 6 of our colleges. And then the next slide here is just going on with education, pharmacy, and others. And so it's just helpful in your packets and in your information just to show you how student interest shifts over time, growth in programs over time. In terms of top programs, I always like to show the top 10. What I love about our students, and you actually heard some of it when our students are introducing themselves, our students have so many combinations here. What's amazing is you can come to URI and not just be an identity of one major. You can be business and the environment. You can be pharmacy with an MBA and others. And so when you look at these numbers, these are enrollment in programs, and this does count double and triple majors. And so you'll notice most populous is psychology, the BA and the BS there remains the #1 spot. Nursing is #2, and we probably could make it #1, but we know the challenge we have with clinicals and managing that. So I'm really proud of nursing and the work we've done this year, bringing in a record incoming class. And you can see the growth in these programs. One I'd like to point out is criminology and criminal justice. There was a time just about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, when that was a new program, and the faculty stepped up to say there's really a need and an interest in this. And notice that that program in just a short time is debuting in the top of our top programs. On the right side, non-PhD grad programs. And when you see an asterisk, for instance, in the second one, like library and information studies, that means that's a program that moved to online. And it's nice to see some of our online programs moving modality or adding an online modality to add growth and perspective there. Going into this slide, Chair Cook, which will be helpful for you, is the look at our residency and how it has changed over time. And if you'll notice the graph shows 5,000 to 8,000. Last year, remember, we had a little bit of a dip in out of state. Remember, we talked about the connection to FAFSA. You can see it went up. So blue, again, is in your out of state. I'm sorry, white is your out of state, and then blue is your in state. And these are changes over time. We've talked for years about the demographic shift in Cliff. Started in Rhode Island and New England many years before people were talking about it. So we've known and have talked about this. And so this is just what it looks like over time. And then the final slide I have for you today, and I, again, appreciate all the time in looking at all these numbers. I know it's a lot to absorb, is just we are working very hard on bringing online into the fold. While we may have been a little bit of late adapting, I'm really proud of our faculty and our colleges working very hard to bring programs. We have a new executive director that's been with us just under a year, working on helping us look at this. And then this is some of your growth in looking at white being online, and then blue being face-to-face in our master's enrollment, which is one of our goals to double over a 10-year period. So I know that's a lot of information. I appreciate the opportunity to kind of rapid pace to show these enrollments, but it is a good year. I've talked to a lot of schools and colleagues out there that are trying to figure this out, and we have a lot of ambitious goals going forward, but overall, it was a really solid year for us. We do have some challenges to work on at the graduate level, but I'm looking forward to accepting those challenges as we move forward the coming years. So thank you.
Excellent report. Any questions, comments, reactions? Jay?
That was actually a phenomenal report. Thank you for the detail. I had questions around online. So that looks like those are the numbers for masters online. What about for undergrad? Do we have a lot of online students there?
We do not have a lot online in graduation, and I actually have some future slides I'll be showing this group in a little bit on that. So online undergraduate, think of it as degree completion. Our finish what you started students and adults coming back. So we have a couple of strategic communications, and we have a new interdisciplinary studies aspect. Masters is our biggest group, and masters, and then we also have online certificates. And what we're doing is stacking certificates so students can combine 2 certificates for a professional master's. And so you have a lot of folks looking at these industry certificate needs, but the connection to financial aid and really connection is having the certificates stacked to what's known as a professional type master's degree. And that's what we're moving towards. If I'd like to remind everyone, Provost Wolf is here, but back in the day, we had one online program that was the big one, and it was RN to BS. And if you remember, we asked the College of Nursing to help meet a need in society. And so we came out with 500 plus RN to BS online students who had their associates, but needed their BS. And so that program was sunsetted as the market changed. We brought on a lot of new programs. So we're kind of in a place where we were sunsetting a program that met the needs in a different way, but kind of that market dried up a little bit. And now we're launching lots of new programs. Online should be nimble, quick, getting into the market need, addressing what society needs, workforce development, and others, especially at the professional master's level.
Joe?
I echo Jay's comments. Yeah. There's always something to learn when you present.
Thank you.
I am anxious to hear, not now, but you've mentioned the opportunities in the graduate school area.
Yeah.
And looking forward to that because, help me out, am I wrong in thinking that if we can drive the graduate programs, that's where we start to see opportunities in research?
Absolutely. There's no question about that. So we know that we are at capacity at the undergraduate traditional level. I'm looking at my colleague Ellen Reynolds when it comes to housing and other aspects, but there's opportunities growing research, there's opportunities in workforce development, there's opportunities in revenue, graduate education at the master's and PhD level is really, and that is why we have a goal to double that over the next 10 years. So absolutely.
Housing is so critical as we obviously are planning for, and we can grow capacity, but we have to grow it in a responsible way, particularly the comments that we heard from our grad student. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great report. Okay, the next item on the agenda is item 3, which is the executive session. I would call for a motion that the committee convene or the board convene into executive session pursuant to RIGL 42465A5. There's a bunch of these. 42465A5 for discussion and action to authorize the negotiation of final terms regarding the potential lease of a portion of the W. Alton Jones campus. RIGL 42465A5 and 7 for ground lease discussions related to the development of property on or around campus, specifically mixed-use development. RIGL 42465A7 for discussion and action to approve terms of an agreement for enterprise resource planning implementation services. RIGL 42465A7 for discussion of the Trip Umbach report and enrollment and recruitment. And RIGL 42465A6 and 7 for discussion of endowment management as posted, as it referenced in the posted agenda. So may I have a motion on that? Thank you, Charlie. Thank you.
Madeline, seconded.
Any discussion on the motion? There being no discussion, may I have a voice vote? All in favor, please say yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Okay, so we're going to convene into executive session for the reasons specified. It's anticipated that this executive session will last 2 to 2.5 hours, after which the board will reconvene into open session. The live stream will be paused during the executive session and will resume once the executive session has ended and the board reconvenes into open session. For all those participating via WebEx, please confirm by saying yes that no other person is present or able to hear the discussion at the remote location. If you do not automatically move into the breakout session, join the session when prompted on your computer screen by clicking the Join Now button. Attendees not participating in the executive session, we move to a waiting room. So can I hear yes from the?
Yes.
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 Good, thank you. David?
Before we convene into executive session, I'd just like to take this opportunity to congratulate Rosemary Costigan, who's going to be sworn in this afternoon as the president of the Community College of Rhode Island. She's been at the community college pretty much from a student all the way through to now president. And I just want to congratulate her. She'll be sworn in this afternoon.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
You stole my thunder. I was going to say that later, but I love that you brought it up now. Yeah, several people will be attending her inauguration, and we're very proud of her. And as Mark would tell you, we have a terrific partnership there, and appreciate all the work you do on that too, David.
Thank you.
Okay, do you want to take a quick break? We'll run back. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Give me like a Diet Coke or something.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Okay, the first order of business in open session is a motion to seal the executive session minutes. May I have a motion? Joe and Jay. What is this, the minutes of the November 7th? So, okay, so is this a second motion? Okay, so may I have a motion to seal the minutes of the board's November 7th executive session be sealed?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, there being no discussion, as for a voice vote, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Okay, next is the report of the committee chairs, and I would ask first for the Finance and Facilities Committee, where Vice Chair Armin Sabatoni led that last meeting, so I'll ask you, Armin, to present the committee report.
Okay, thank you. The Finance and Facilities Committee met on October 27, 2025. More than several of the items that we had discussed and recommended, you have already taken care of and actually took votes on. But what I do want to mention is that Vice President Abby Benson presented the university's audited financial statements for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. The university reported an increase in net position of 65.9 million, primarily driven by state capital investments. Tuition and fee revenues rose by 4.36 million due to the rate increases and state appropriations. For operations totaling of 112.74 million, which excluding a one-time FY 24 adjustment, reflected a 5.5% increase, signaling Rhode Island's continuing financial support for the university. The committee voted to recommend the approval of the statements to the full board. This is the only action that we need to take a vote on, but before we do that, Abby, do you want to talk at all about that audit and that it was a definite clean audit?
Yes, thank you. So we were pleased to have a clean audit without any findings from our auditor. The auditor did come to IRCC and talk about the audit with that committee, which we'll report on later. As Armin indicated, our net position is up primarily due to infusion of capital from the state. We are still facing some reduction in operating expenses relative to our overall revenue. So that's something we're obviously paying close attention to. That's really all for now. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Everybody got a copy of that audit. Margot, do you want to take this vote or do you want me to take it?
You can go ahead, Armin.
All right, hearing no further discussion, may I have a motion to recommend approval of the university's audited financial statements for FY 2025 as presented in the enclosure?
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second?
Yes.
All right, no further discussion. All in favor say yes.
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 No, anyone disapprove, say no. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. And that's it for the finance meeting.
Thank you, Armin. Okay, the next is academic affairs and research, and I'll ask Neil Kerwin.
Thank you, Chair Cook. Our committee met on October 27th, 2025, discussed a number of items. As was the case in the previous report, many of those items have already been covered in either the open meeting or the closed session, executive session. We did consider and vote on two motions, both of which are now on the omnibus vote list. And I'll ask now if anyone, they are items, by the way, 8C and 8D. Any trustees wish to further discuss those motions at this time or remove the motion from the omnibus agenda? All right. Thank you for those. Now, we also had a number of items that have not been mentioned, and I'd ask Provost Wolf to maybe cover that briefly in her report.
Sure. Thank you, Neil. Just briefly, a reminder that this past October, as was briefly mentioned, the Wall Street Journal, for the second year in a row, named URI as the #1 public flagship in New England. So we're very thrilled about that. And it's really a reflection about the impact that the university is having. So we're very, very happy. We also celebrated a number of folks on the faculty. We had a wide range of faculty covering many of the colleges who were named in the top 2% of most cited individuals. So that was a wonderful opportunity, again, to highlight the visibility and impact that the university is having. And lastly, we also launched the Fannin Institute for Student Success. So we're really excited about that. And we look forward to how that can continue to support our students. The leadership team for federal action also continues to meet and again, looking at the executive orders that are coming down the road, we will continue to monitor those things. And lastly, accreditation. As you know, accreditation is something that is coming up, and we do have a steering committee that is moving forward with that.
Thank you, Barb. Any questions for our Provost and Chief Academic Officer? If not, the report of the Chief Research Officer, Bethany mentioned that with, among other things, the closure of the federal government for the past several weeks has limited the amount of activity for her to report on. Bethany, anything you'd like to add to that?
Nope, just that we've been in shutdown 4 days since the last board meeting. So we're continuing to monitor. The good news is that we are getting cost reimbursement on most of our research portfolio. So at least the business of already funded grants is happening, and we are just seeing a slowing in new awards because of the shutdown.
Okay. Thank you. Just ask again if there are any questions for either our Provost or Chief Research Officer. Okay, hearing none, we do have one action item that we'll ask the board to vote on. This is the action item related to the award of honorary degrees. I would ask Provost Wolf to once again remind us how the honorary degree process operates before I introduce a motion.
Great, thank you. Last month, the Honorary Degree Committee met and we reviewed nominations that were solicited publicly for honorary degrees, and we provided recommendations to the president, and the president has submitted his recommendations. And just a reminder, they are confidential. So those recommendations you do have before you for approval by the board.
Thank you, Provost Wolf.
Chair Kerwin, I just had one question about
sure.
There were a lot. So is it our expectation that what if they all said yes? How do we manage that?
We could be so fortunate. What we do is we have a list that we can carry forward to the next year. So, and that's actually a good thing to help with. But we also have a number of ceremonies too. So it's nice to be able to have honorary degrees at the multiple ceremonies.
Terrific. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? If not, I would remind the board that the two items that we will vote on in the omnibus agenda include the traditional approval of degrees and related honors for those who have completed their work at the end of the fall term. And there's also a request to approve an awarding of a posthumous degree. But now, may I have a motion that the board approve the awarding of honorary degrees to the recipients proposed by the Office of the President and the Nominating Committee as listed in the confidential memo?
So moved.
Joe
Okay,
and
I
Jay.
hear all right, thank you. Is there any discussion of the motion? If not, I'll ask for a voice vote. All in favor, please say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Any abstentions? Well, the motion carries unanimously. And that completes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Chair Kerwin. The next is the Institutional Risk and Compliance Committee report. And Vice Chair Matt Lenz is going to give that report. Thanks, Matt.
Actually, Robbie was going to give it and talk to him earlier. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Robbie. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Hi, Robbie.
The Institutional Risk and Compliance Committee met on October 28th, 2025. Vice President Abby Benson introduced Mike Johns from CLA, URI's external audit firm. Johns outlined the fiscal year 25 audit scope, processes, and findings, noting that CLA issued an unmodified opinion with no findings except for one management letter recommendation regarding software booking that required an adjustment. He confirmed there were no changes in scope, disagreements with management, or inconsistencies in disclosures. Johns also highlighted two matters, the adoption of a new standard for counting accumulated absences, which increased liability and impacted net position, and the removal of the research foundation as a component unit due to its limited financial significance. He also discussed emerging industry issues, emphasizing federal regulatory changes as a major concern for higher education. Abby then introduced Carol Larson and Lindsay Nottage, who reported on enterprise risk management and compliance activities. Nottage detailed efforts to strengthen policies and procedures, track over 90 regulatory reports, and proactively address compliance risks. She highlighted the university's ethics campaign and leadership support for compliance initiatives. Any questions? This completes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Robbie. Okay. The next is the Governance Committee report. And Courtney is going to deliver that report, yes? So before Courtney reports, I just want to point out that, and we do this for some of our board members that are doing extraordinary things, and I just want to say thank you for the work that you're doing on behalf of SNAP and the residents of Rhode Island. It's pretty incredible that this little state called Rhode Island is leading this effort with Judge McConnell. And it's just so important for the state, but also that you're being recognized by a number of organizations around the state. So we just want to say congratulations to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. So thank you, Madam Chair. The Governance Committee met on October 28th to discuss and act on a number of items. One, we discussed upcoming board vacancies and the nomination process. 'Tis the season. And so as a heads up, we have several trustee terms that will expire in February of 2026, including Margot, Joe Formicola, Vahid, Tom Ryan, and Armand. And so we will be discussing their interest in another term. Also, additionally, Bob Wagon's resignation has created a vacancy as well. As folks, everyone in this room knows, we have all been appointed by the governor, and that process will continue. And we also, though, as part of this process, launch a nomination form. This has been helpful in the past as the governor has looked to us for recommendations or insights on great URI alums that we may want to have him consider. And so that nomination form you will receive in your email. I am asking that every trustee submit at least one. Let's build that pipeline of names because we also have a number of different other advisory groups and committees that the university can tap these great URI friends and alums to. So thank you in advance. And if you do not provide one, you'll hear from me. So I look forward to talking. And so also we discussed, we had a very policy heavy conversation. It's just the time of year, but also part of our policy calendar. And I want to thank Dan and Kara and Christopher and the policy team for all that they do, keeping us on track with all the various policies. The committee members voted to recommend that the board accept and approve a number of things that will be in your omnibus vote. That is the approval of policy on the conflict of interest and commitment, the approval of the revised policy on consensual relationships, the approval of the revised policy on university trademarks and licensing, the approval of the revised policy on conflict of interest in research, including renaming it to the policy on financial conflict of interest in research, and the approval of the policy on conflict of commitment in research. Does anyone have any questions or wish to discuss or want any of these items removed from the omnibus? All right, hearing none. We do have one action item to take outside the omnibus, which is the approval, the new policy on tuition fees and charges. Subsequent to our meeting, amendments with clarifying edits have been added to the draft policy and documented in the enclosure included in the redlined addition to the draft policy. Any questions that Provost Wolf would be able to answer? Not me. All right, hearing none, may I have a motion that the board approve the draft university policy on tuition, fees, and charges as presented in the enclosure?
Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie. May I have a second? Second. Thank you, Maria. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a voice vote. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any
Yes.
opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is approved. And that is the end of my report.
Good job. Thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is item 8, which is the omnibus vote. So before proceeding with an omnibus vote to approve the past meeting's minutes and committee recommended action items, are there any action items listed below for which any member has any questions or would like to discuss, oppose, or remove from the omnibus vote to be voted on individually? Okay, hearing none. May I have an omnibus motion to approve agenda action items 8A through 8L as recommended and presented?
So moves.
Charlie, and I heard Armand.
Yes.
Any discussion on the motion?
No.
There being no discussion, I ask for a voice vote. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. So before I adjourn, I had one administrative item that Emily has reminded me of that we all are trying hard to use our URI email address. I'd ask you to try a little harder. If we get, if any of us gets deposed or there's any kind of legal action and you're using your personal email, they will have to look at your personal email. They may take your phone. So try really hard to use the URI email address for all of our correspondence because that keeps us safe from a security standpoint, but also from any legal issues. Okay, did I cover it? And I also just want to say thank you for Emily. It was our first full meeting. She did a fantastic job, as did Lynn over there, who's behind the scenes, but is Sue and Robin. We have a great team supporting us, so thanks to all three of you. Okay, we did it. Look at us, 12:41. The next item on the agenda is 9, to adjourn. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
A lot of people there. Is there, so I think I heard a second there too. Did we get that? Okay, thank you. As for a voice vote, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next URI Board of Trustees meeting is February 13th. It will be a virtual meeting, and I look forward to seeing all of you then. Thank you so much.
Good job.
Happy holidays.